let's start now with an overview to today's agenda. First, Ned will give an EU Tech address and mission statement. Afterwards, Sofia Kato will give her keynote in which she will present navigating remote stakeholders management. Following this, we will open our panel discussion in which Helga Pattard and Sharbel Noura will participate alongside Sofia Kato. Using the given perspective from her keynote, we will expand the discussion and address solutions to cover strength orientation with people-centered focus and how to build agile operating model to drive digital within the organization. Finally, we will have an open question and answer session with all of you. So you are all invited to send your questions, comments, and remarks via the chat function. You see the button in the window. Today, the panel will be facilitated by Serdar Yücel, the Director of the Academy Alliance at EU Tech Chamber. And now I'd like to hand over to Ned. Thank you, Ned. The stage is now yours.
Good morning, Petra. Thank you so much. Good morning, Serdar. Good morning to the other panelists. Good morning to our attendees. My name is Ned Alpiric, and I'm Digital Transformation and Smart City Director with EU Tech. It's a great pleasure and honor to give you EU Tech introduction today. So, Chamber started in 2015 with a very simple and powerful mission statement and motto that technology obliges. And we believe that technology is the key. And based on that, we strongly believe that to reach competitiveness and sustainability and growth is a key for us and for our partners. And how EU Tech Chamber is structured, as you can see, we have regional impact alliances and technology alliance. In case you cannot see my presentation, there's a button on the right-hand side, so you can make it full screen. So please do that. So regional alliance, as you can see, we have 2 countries, 2 continents, and 2 regions. Impact alliances is where Academy belongs to. And of course, we have technology alliances, smart city, digital transformation, advanced manufacturing, and many, many more. So what we offer to our members, first of all, we divided it as a knowledge, networking, and programs. On the knowledge side, we produce white papers, position papers, and of course, magazine Visions for Europe each quarter. We organize delegation trips, and every day, somebody in the chamber every working day has a webinar. So we produce over 200 webinars every year. And of course, networking, when we talk about the virtual booth is actually where we are currently now in this webinar in our virtual center. And basically, all companies and partners that join us, they get virtual booth, which is very important in terms of trade fairs and exhibitions, so they can move. We can move their booths so they can be visible to other companies and other visitors. We do over 650 section meetings as well, or alliances meetings. And in regards to program, besides social media program, where we produce 30 videos, corporate videos for companies, for our partners, we also have digital transformation program, where we help companies to digitally transform, and we walk them from point A to point Z. We also have the EU Tech program center in China, where we also help our partners to expand their businesses in China. And of course, many forms of summits, trade fairs, investment forum, SDG award, for example, we had it in December last year, where we awarded 17 companies for each of SDG goals. 17 companies, 10,000 euros each, total 170,000 euros. And of course, we help companies to become climate action neutral. And this is for those of you that like live more than virtual. This is our delegation trips. This is the last one in Munich prior to Corona. We hope the situation with pandemic will allow us to again initiate these summits.
Nat, I think we lost you. Hope you can hear us or you can with us. You can refresh your screen. I cannot hear you anymore. Nat, hope you can hear me. Okay, so Nat, hope you can hear me. You dropped from the screen.
I am back.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I guess.
Thank you. Thank you. Good to see you back again.
My internet connection just dropped down. I'm sorry.
No problem.
I am very close to finish. So please bear with me for a moment. Okay.
With pleasure. Presentation slide is still on the screen.
It's still on the screen. Okay.
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, so we have also, as I mentioned before, China Technology Center, where we help companies to expand their businesses in China. We are currently in negotiation with the governments in Middle East, several governments in Middle East, to build another technology center, which will have the same purpose to help European and other companies, our partners, to expand their businesses in this time in Middle East. And of course, please stay in touch with us. How you do that? You can either directly contact Serdar or myself, or you can follow us on a LinkedIn on different groups. This time, this is Academies Alliance. Please stay in touch with Serdar and follow up on his activities on LinkedIn. This is all from me. I wish you a great webinar. I apologize again for being kicked out by my network. And have a wonderful day and wonderful webinar. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Nat, for the great introduction. And it happens, we know, and you managed so professionally. Thank you, Nat, again for introducing UTech and the Chamber's aims. As Nat and Petra before have mentioned, the Chamber wants to achieve specific targets. The European Technology Chamber is a network of people knowing from many perspectives what technology is and how to deal with technology. If we take it seriously, we have to bring together the relevant stakeholders. So let me introduce to you all Sofia Karto, our keynote speaker today. Sofia Karto is one of the founders and managing partners of Loyal Ecosystems, management consulting company that takes on future-led organizations' challenges, combining behavior, business, and policy in an ecosystem organically, designed to develop of advisory services on a stakeholder-centric matrix. Sofia is a senior policy and stakeholders management consultant with 20 years of experience, including in reputation and crisis management. Curious at heart and avid learner, so great, Sofia. And she sees in the ever-changing context of the recent past an opportunity to connect with professionals of different backgrounds and knowledge areas. Sofia, it is our great pleasure to have you here today. It is now the time to share your ideas with us. The stage is yours.
Thank you, Serdar, and thank you for the UTech Chamber for having me. I'm humbly honored. Good morning to my fellow panelists and to everyone who is participating at home. I am now starting to share my screen, and hopefully you will see it soon. And Serdar, I will kindly ask me.
We see it now.
We see it. Okay, perfect. So Serdar already. Oh, sorry, I did the wrong one. It's this. Okay. So Serdar was talking about me, and thank you for the kind presentation again. About Loyal. Loyal Ecosystem is a company. I would start to present a bit of our work. we were founded 7 years ago. I'm one of the founders and managing partners. And we'll see ourselves as a living organism working together within this ecosystem to deliver the best sustainable business solutions to our clients. This is how we see stakeholder-centric management consultancy. At Loyal, we combine three kinds of expertises, three units, behavior, business, and policy, in a way to support our clients' transformation and arrival into this 21st century that is becoming more and more unpredictable and uncertain. However, we believe that we are helping our clients to be on their way. And of course, as Cesar said, I'm a policy consultant here at Loyal. And you can see a bit more about us if you visit our website. Now, publicity then. Let's go to my keynote and my topic, navigating remote stakeholder management. And I thought I should start by presenting you and talking to you about what is a stakeholder. So the definition of a stakeholder is not actually very complicated. It is virtually any group or individual who can affect or is affected by the achievements of the organizations. And this means, well, everyone around us actually. At a given moment, everyone can be, or any group can be a stakeholder for an organization or for a person, for an individual. And usually the most identified stakeholders by organizations are the shareholders, the clients, or teams or vendors. But this goes, it's a lot broader than this. We have governments and government officials, we have regulatory bodies, trade and professional associations, citizens associations, NGOs, citizens themselves. And so it's a wide variety of people, of organizations, of groups who can, at a given moment, at any given moment, be affecting or being affected by the organization's objectives. This means that we really need to deal with the stakeholders in different way. And until a few years back, we would do this, doing meetings, and a lot of meetings and more meetings, one-to-one meetings, group meetings, conferences, sessions, think tank meetings, office work, of course, but always in a close together and proximate relationship, face to face. It was pretty much how we would do this. And let's not be shy about this. The tools were already there. Digital tools were there. We had video conferences. We had a lot of great tools to collaborate and to work together. The tools were more or less perfected, were more or less used by everyone. I can say that they were more or less forgotten by everyone. But the truth is, in stakeholder management, until again a couple of years back, we could not think about having a meeting with a stakeholder, or at least not very. It wouldn't be very welcome to have a meeting with a stakeholder if we didn't go to meet them in person. So if I would have a meeting in Brussels, I would have to go to Brussels for that meeting. It was not well seen that we were not there face to face. If even in working in the close by city, and personally I'm based in Lisbon, if I had a meeting in another neighborhood of Lisbon, of course we would have to go there and meet face to face. But this is because stakeholders were not using technology to their best. We at Loyal, we try this. I can tell you this because we've been remote, and we've been technology centric, of course, since the beginning of the company. But the fact is that we couldn't really apply it besides inside of our company. And then, of course, the big blur occurred, right, in the following years. And it's not that nothing happened during this period. On the contrary, a lot happened on this period regarding stakeholder management. And I think we were all forced to embrace the digital perspective in all aspects of our life. I'm not going to pass through all the cliches, but the fact is that finally the tools came to us. The tools were perfected. They got better every moment of these 2 years passed. They got more intuitive. They got more functionalities, and I believe that people got better also on their digital skills and getting more proficient in working online and working in a collaborative format and working together in this new dawn, the new world of digital living that we have to embrace. So I think that the great change that happened was not really on the technology that was available. Thank God, because we had a lot of technology available, as I mentioned, and not only on the digital skills that got better and better, even for people who were not very tech savvy. They had to get better and better on their digital skills. So we had to find a new way to do things, but this new way was pretty much on two perspectives. The perspective of the mindset in which you approach work, and I'm talking about, of course, work in general, but also stakeholder management, and the behavior that you have. And I think that even more than behavior, the mindset with which you approach the stakeholder management aspect of things is the most important. Because what this opportunity gave us regarding remote stakeholder management was the opportunity to look beyond our own ecosystem, our more proximate ecosystem. So I think the mindset that we have to embrace, and we cannot forget it now that we are living the completely digital life that we have now, is a mindset by which we embrace being bold about what we can do and how we can do it and who we can reach out to. So not only how you do things, but what you can achieve by doing things. Today we are able to engage and to reach, I would say, virtually anyone in the world, and do a project and do a stakeholder meeting and engage in our projects, in our topics, and in our concerns. Anyone, and having time zones calculated, of course, we can work, we can meet, and we can have in our event, or we can collaborate with a lot of people. And being practical, when I say be bold, is the fact that we can think about reaching and working with us Nobel Prizes, and we did it at Loyal. We did a webinar also. He had Nobel Prize for Medicine in Physiology attending from the US on our webinar. We can reach, of course, organizations from all over the world. And again, a specific example, we have been working in a project that engages and involves space agencies from different countries in the world regarding an innovative solution for the future of space exploration. And of course, we have to think about this possibility. And I think it's a mindset, because what I think this is the hardest part, and this is why I address it first. It's the hardest part, being bold about things. Of course, in this mindset, we have to be practical and think very practically, and especially when reaching our stakeholders digitally. We have to be practical and think on how we can collaborate to work together. As I said, we don't have to focus anymore on having a day trip to reach someone. As I said before, as I said, we don't even have to spend 2 hours on a Zoom meeting to collaborate and to work together. We can collaborate and work together via the several tools that we have, and meet to when we are really needed to real. And this brings me to the third topic of mindset, which is being flexible. Which this applies not only to others, but always to ourselves. So asynchronous work nowadays means that you can work at any time you want, at anywhere you want. That you can have, that you can change countries every 2 weeks and work from any country every 2 weeks. So it's a possibility that we have, and I think that what this mindset and the technology brings us, it's a lot of liberty. We don't need to be always in the bubble, going to the bubble of Brussels or working on our own bubble. We have an immense liberty now to work and to engage stakeholders and to work with stakeholders in the best, at our best. Sorry, I'm losing my words. At our best convenience. Of course, with liberty comes the need for a different set of skills, and I would say, and a different set of skills focused on how we behave. And nowadays, and this is pretty much I think applicable to everything, but not only, but specifically to stakeholder management. We have to work with discipline, because a lot of liberty brings too much autonomy, and or can bring too much autonomy. So we need to have discipline, respecting our own work time and the stakeholders' work time. More than that, we need to be objective and pragmatic when we reach stakeholders and we manage stakeholders remotely. We all know the feeling of having back-to-back Zoom meetings, right? A whole day of those. So we need to be very objective in our meetings, and when we reach a stakeholder, we need to have a specific goal. When reaching the stakeholder, we need to have a specific goal to the meeting itself, and we have to have clear messages to pass on to the stakeholder, and of course work together and be very direct in our meetings, of course with the necessary care and digital etiquette, of course, to design and to get out of meetings with clear next steps to the work that we have together. And finally, this doesn't mean that we have to be cold and too direct and too cold in our managing of our stakeholders. So namely stakeholders closer to us, like for example our teams, require the ability not only to be direct, to be pragmatic in our communication, but also to be empathetic, to put ourselves in other people's shoes, to think with them, to ask. One of the key tools and the key aspects and skills of stakeholder management, I think, or we believe at Loyal, is asking questions from everything from how are you to what's your work and what are your concerns. So stakeholder engagement, and again, stakeholders include a lot of entities, groups, individuals, requires empathy and working to not enable in order to work together the best way. So I would end up by saying that this is all about relationships, and we can do it face to face. We can do it digitally using technology, and we can. And more than ever, we have the right tools to do this. It requires some more effort and a different mindset, as I said, but it's also a whole new world of possibilities. And with this, I am ending. I think I'm reaching my time, and I thank you for listening to me, and I'm of course available to answer all of your questions.
Thank you, Sophia, for your keynote, sharing these comprehensive insights. Now I have many keywords here indeed, and I learned a lot. Now I know more than before about stakeholder management, and I started just thinking about if I take myself as the main stakeholder of me, if I can apply those keywords to myself. Indeed, thank you. And I'm sure many of us have had some idea on this introduction to the remote stakeholder management. These are main aspects of organization collaboration and responsibility. What she has given is an excellent idea to navigate this hybrid world and how to embrace it using digital skills set for organizations and people by stakeholders management with new mindset and behaviors. Although there started a discussion in the chat, and I hope you can start, dear audience, it is now a perfect time to integrate Helga Pattard and Charbel Noura in our discussion. But before we start with our panel talk, I'd like to introduce them to all of you. Helga Pattard has been part of the Tech House team since 2022. And with April 2022, she's also responsible for it as managing director. She leads various projects in the areas of innovation, leadership, and digitalization. She also teaches at the Vienna University of Economics and Business, where she covers the topics of modern leadership and agility. Before that, she led the executive education department of the WU Executive Academy for 5 years, developing customized MBA and executive programs in Austria and abroad for international companies and organizations. Impressive, Helga. And Sharba Noura is a management consultant and certified project manager with 13 years of experience in delivering innovative transformation programs to strive operational excellence, reshape operating models, and prepare businesses for the digitization journey. Charbel is a subject matter expert in solutions, modernization, and process automation. During his career, he worked with leading banks in the Middle East, Europe, and US to help them digitize their processes and reshape their operating models and ways of working. A great background, Charbel. Congratulations. And dear audience, at this point, I'd like to give a general note again and invite you all to share us your questions, please, about the keynote or around our theme today, digital excellence. You can send questions at the Q&A section of this meeting room. Later, I'll pick up some questions to discuss among our panelists. And meanwhile, they will be also keeping an eye on the public chat to comment and answer you. Please do not wait until the end of the panel to send your You can do it anytime starting from now, please. Now let's start our panel with you, Helga and Charbel, including some additional ideas from Sophia. Of course, come to the first talking point. In the keynotes, we learned the remote stakeholders management, but perhaps we can continue with strength orientation with people-centered focus and how to build agile operating model to drive digital within organization. Helga and Charbel, the first questions I would like to address to you first. All the panelists are representatives of international business and consultancy world. From your experience about the digital excellence, Helga, what is necessary for leaders in a VUCA world, VUCA, to consider when it comes to digitalization and transformation, where VUCA, VUCA is an acronym for volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity, as you know. And the next question will be to Charbel, how to establish experimental leadership development programs to cascade down the digital culture in organization. And then may I ask Sophia, what is the key focus an organizational professional must have to navigate digital stakeholder management? But maybe we can start with you, Helga. What is necessary for leaders?
Thank you so much, Serdar, for this nice introduction and this invitation today to talk with you or to discuss with you, dear panelists, about digital excellence and what is necessary for leaders. So thanks for the first question, Serdar. I think it's always a good starting point to zoom a little bit out and see what's going on. And so this is what we're doing in our consultancy and our supporting companies on their journeys, innovation journeys, transformation journeys, that we see what are the mega trends at the moment that are impacting their businesses, their companies, and all the individuals they're working in the companies. And so we're looking in the first step at the mega trends, what is going on outside, what we have to see, and also to think about when mega trends are there, are arising, what can we do as organizations to answer these megatrends. And you already mentioned the VUCA world, and I think this is really great. It describes very well what's going on and how it feels. So everything is volatile, everything is uncertain and complex and also ambiguous. This is really interesting for leaders. At the same time, a decision should be, the answer should be yes or no, and both is the right thing. So ambiguity is something what stresses our leaders, our organizations very well. And some people also add two more Ds to this VUCA world. We also say it's really diverse, our VUCA world, and it's also dynamic. Dynamics is also something what you can add to this VUCA world, what describes what's going on outside very well. And what we as leaders, as organizations should do is how to minimize frictions between the outside and the inside, how to transform ourselves to learning organizations, to understand what is necessary, what we should do in the future. And this is not only meant with when it comes to digitalization or transformation, but it's also important in this area. So you as leaders or leaders in organizations have the responsibility to understand what are the mega trends, what is the VUCA world, what does that mean for my organization, for each individual in my organization, and what is my answer to that, and how can I minimize frictional losses and how to build up a learning organization. But I think this is the perfect handover to Charbel to the question how to build up a learning system or education program in companies to understand how digitalization and transformation should be done and implemented.
Thank you, Helga. Nice meeting you, everyone, and nice participating in this discussion. So I'm going to be focusing more on how to implement leadership programs within the organizations, actually. to drive digital transformation. So as we all know, digital culture starts from the leadership and it is cascaded down to the whole team. And why it needs to start with the leadership? Because we often see organizations try to implement digital in silos. So for example, one department will lead an initiative and you can see that all the other departments in the organizations are not aware or engaged within that initiative, and there most probably it will fail. So in order to avoid this, what kind of experimental leadership programs we can implement within the organizations to help succeed in this mission? So first, organization can establish innovation hubs where actually all the teams can conduct researches about the new innovation, the new technologies in the market, and they can invite the vendors to come and to show the latest technology in the markets, what are the trends, and sometimes even like provide some proof of concepts or solutions um, uh, to the company or to the organization. And here it's very important to have within the company the procurement process to enable this. That's why we need to work on the internal processes to enable this kind of events, of hubs, of even proof of concepts. The other thing that they can do is to hold digital expert workshops. So where all the executives within the organizations, they can get together and experience new use cases, have discussions, and participate in group exercises led by the digital experts. Um, uh, Also, a good way to do this is to do a peer-to-peer learning, and that's usually done through the knowledge hub. So they can start building knowledge database where they can actually share all the digital knowledge. For example, if there is a new tool used, to have there all the documentation, all the lesson learned, all the processes related to this tool, to have discussion blogs and boards. Whiteboards are very trendy right now, so people can gather and brainstorm and supply ideas. And the last way that is very useful is the reverse mentorship. So we often see in the organization people with uh, biggest experience that are people, if we can say, like they were there for a long time in the organization. They have really like less digital skills than the tech savvy people, the millennials or the young people that are joining in the organization. So it would be good to have like a reverse mentorship, so the people with more digital skills but younger can help the people that were there before them in the organization but have less digital skills. So all of these programs or initiative can help actually leadership to cascade down this digital culture within the organization and prepare the new joiners within the organization to be part of the journey. Thank you.
Thank you, Charbel. And what about you, Sophia? What is the key focus, please?
Yes, no, I would say I was listening to Helga and to Charbel, and I was picking up key points from them because it's a bit around all of this that they were talking about. Of course, I mentioned being pragmatic and being flexible, but of course, you need to be very efficient when talking with managing stakeholders when you are on this digital framework. And as Alga said, we have to minimize all the frictions. We need to be on a learning mindset also, of course. And I think getting out of our silos is super important, and working together and building together. And this applies to the organizations, to building a digital culture inside your organization, as Charbel was mentioning, but it also applies to stakeholder management. So when you get out of your own head, your own mindset, you talk to the stakeholders and you get their insights, you create a better perspective of how to work together and to build together. And I think that's would be probably the main focus on the end of all this speech that I'm doing, the main focus is the thinking about how we can build together with the stakeholder on our topics and on our concerns, and building together with their topics and their concerns to a better solution. And this is a bit how we focus here on at Loyal, on giving solutions to the problems that we have or the challenges that we face every day. Building together with the stakeholders and with their perspectives is the main focus for sure, digital world-wise or not, even in face-to-face.
Okay, so thank you, Sophia. I was thinking about mega trends you mentioned, Helga. Can you please explore this a bit more? Because I may think about something about being mega, which might not be the case. What is your point to understand better, please?
Mhm. So there is a long list of mega trends, and I think that every one of us could, summarize 10 or more mega trends. But there are some trends which are, impacting our organizations, our individuals, and I pick. For example, we have this demographic change. A lot of baby boomers and now young generations coming to the professional life. A lot of changes. A lot of companies, especially, for example, in Austria, have to deal with this megatrend because they have to recruit a lot of young people now. For example, Austrian Railway company ÖBB. You have to see that they have 40,000 employees. 10,000 of them are baby boomers and now going to retire. So they have to recruit in the next 3 to 4 years 10,000 young people. Means that they have to recruit per each year 3,000 people. Can you imagine this? This is really unbelievable number, and I think this shows exactly what we mean with demographic change, also inside of companies. So that means you have to focus on knowledge management, how to also build up new career path in your company, how to deal with management, knowledge management between experienced people and young people, and so on and so on. So this is one mega trend, for example, and a lot of companies are dealing with it. Another would be, and this is maybe also our main topic of today, is digitalization and technology change. A lot of companies are facing this mega trend. Yes, of course, this is nothing new. But we have to understand that, for example, inside of an organization's whole job profiles are changing from mechanic doing to IT and electronical services and products. And so we have to change also, or we have to add other job profiles in our companies. Also something what is challenging for companies and individuals. And there is another megatrend, which I think is really interesting, but there are a lot of other trends. I know that, like climate change and so on. But one is, I think, really interesting is also the trend of individuality and diversity of values. So what we see is not only because of the different generations, because I'm not too a fan of thinking in these generations, but we see this diversity of values, and we as leaders, we as companies have to deal with it. We have to see that there are diverse values and needs of people in my company, and I have to deal with it because the war of talent is here. We experience this every day, and so this is what also companies have to look on and focus on. I hope this helps my answer.
Yes. Now, I can imagine some more, but maybe also the audience may like to provide their ideas about the mega trends that they need to know more about. Of course, in connection with digitalization, then we can also talk about them. And dear audience, we encourage you to please provide your ideas about megatrends maybe. But before continuing with some other interesting questions in my mind to you, may I get your megatrends, Sophia and Charbel?
Yes. So megatrends in the one
Maybe
on top of
from
my
Portugal point of view, globally, how you like?
no globally because well Portugal in spite of being in a small corner here of Europe physically geographically we have a long history of being global. Well, on top of my mind, it was the demographic changes. It's something that it's affecting us completely, and for sure, it's the main thing on my point of view. But also, I would like to point out, of course, the fact that more and more, and this is on policy making, citizens are taking the job at hands. This is a very interesting mega trend that well probably mostly governments and people in Brussels are noticing, but it's not anymore the role of a public affairs specialist or a specific body of stakeholders to present their views, but more and more citizens are taking their concerns at hand and they are presenting it and they are making it pass as legislation. And a big example of that that some people might know about is that, for example, the last roaming legislation that abolished roaming in European countries, it was a citizen initiative. It comes from a citizens initiative. It was the first time it happened, and it was very interesting to see that. And of course, nowadays, in the last 2-3 years, we are seeing a lot of citizens taking place and stepping in regarding climate change, and a lot of people demonstrating and so on. And I think this is one thing, one mega trend that we all need to be aware of, is that citizens more and more are taking their concerns in hand, not only by voting, but also by proposing and by presenting themselves to governments and having their views directly to governments, which is for me very, very interesting.
Thank you. And Charbel, from UK or global or from Middle East, as you are experienced in many regions, please.
Yeah, I guess this point is applicable to globally. So we definitely, after the COVID pandemic, we've seen a huge shift in customer behavior towards digital channels. So if we take, for example, banking sector, usually people used to prefer to go to the bank and deal with an agent to process their operations and transaction. Nowadays, the preference is towards the usage of mobile application, internet banking. All the kind of products can be initiated and onboarded through the apps. Even with the ATM and digital payment, as we can see, all people prefer now to pay with card instead of paying with physical money. So that started definitely before COVID, but I believe that the pandemic accelerated the shift in this behavior. So now all the banks across the world and all the organizations that provide services need to account for this shift and change in the behavior. That's it.
Thank you, Helga, Charbel, and Sophia, for sharing your perspectives to the current situation of the discussed form of the digital excellence. For the next topic, I would appreciate ideas from Helga and Charbel first, and of course, including some additional ideas from Sophia too. There are many barriers to organizational transformation, positive stakeholder engagement, and fostering a learning organization that vary between countries and regions. And the framework conditions must be designed to fulfill the promise of the digital excellence. So, before passing to the questions, I see some questions also in the public chat. You may like to keep an eye. But, Charbel, how to engage the whole organization in the transformation journey and not only the product or services owners. And the next question to Sophia will be, is digital stakeholders engagement here to stay? Is it positive? This is critical. And then I'll ask Helga to learn how to develop people and to foster a learning organization. But who wants to start this time first? Maybe Sharbel? How to engage the whole organization?
Yeah, sure. So that's a very interesting question and topic. So we know that we need to drive digital across the whole organization and to secure positive stakeholder engagement, as Sophia was talking about. So how to succeed in this? Usually, based on my experience, we can give some recommendations to the companies, and one of this is to establish something called a change championship. So we can appoint digital change champions within the whole organization. So within each department or function or business unit, we appoint one person that is responsible to talk to his team about the change, to make them aware and engaged. And this person doesn't have like a job description. It's not part of his BAU role, but he needs to just keep his team updated and informed about what is happening in terms of digital initiatives. The second recommendation we give is to establish a communication plan and to be clear about it. So we need to reach out to all the stakeholders, but we need to reach out to each stakeholder differently based on their level, based on their availability, sometimes proximity. So we need to be clear when to use the intranet, when to use the email communication, when to use the meetings, the workshops, newsletter, and even events. And having this communication plan clear to everyone, make sure that the right message is conveyed to the right people. The third thing that organization can do to engage also the whole teams is to conduct roadshows and events and to present the updates and on the new products and services within these roadshows. And the latest one is to conduct surveys, because surveys are very important to actually measure the success of the change and the engagement of the people. Sometimes also we can go a bit further and do sometimes of tests or exercise or even exams to see if the idea is reached, if the message is conveyed and people are understanding what is happening within the organization. So these four recommendations definitely can help like spread the awareness and engagement within the whole organization and not only within the entity that is driving the change. And now I will pass it to Sophia.
Yes. So digital stakeholder management is it here to stay? Definitely, for sure.
Is it positive?
Is it positive? Yeah, it is. I think it is positive because of that world of freedom, as I was talking about, and the possibility to reach more and more stakeholders and to get perspectives on different stakeholders. Of course, we need to have in mind that it's key to have some points of digital etiquette, as you may say. How we do it is very important on managing stakeholders in a digital ecosystem. For example, having voice and having face is very, 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 very important. And so even if we do have a first contact that is written, it is so important to talk to people one-to-one, either via video, but also at a given point, if possible, to have a touching contact, sort of speak. We're here in the south of Europe. We're very touchy and we like to see people face to face. And I think, but after 2 years of COVID, everyone is a bit like that. We need face to face meetings and we need to see each other as a whole body and not only as a square. But we cannot forget that yes, digital stakeholder management definitely here to stay. It will not substitute the everyday meetings, but I think it is a positive enhancement on our lives now that we embraced it. Yes. Maybe.
Yeah. Maybe you can give us some more feedback about how we need to understand why we need to get face to face. I mean, the basic needs for this is to understand each other better, or to feel that we are understood by the other party better. In terms of stakeholder management or in terms of digital excellence, how we can keep ourselves digitally excellent as well, can stay face to face. This is something that I need to understand.
Yes. Well, the basic need that we are all humans, that we have to be together and to face, is because we are social animals. Let's use the word. And the fact is, and I'm not saying anything out of the box because it has been studied during this 2 years of pandemic. Our communication skills go, and our communication skills, that I don't find a better word in English, and go far beyond talking and moving. And you see that I gesticulate a lot. It's like we talk with our whole body, and in understanding what the other person is thinking and how they are reacting, and on creating this relationship. Of course, face to face is or presence. I'm not going to, because video is almost face to face nowadays. It's super important to foster closer relationships. Of course, we can do it digitally, and let's be practical, as I was saying. We just need to have those little tips of always keeping your camera on, trying to look at the camera, not like I'm doing now, and not looking below because I'm looking at you people. So all of these are small tricks that help engagement and creating that closeness, that the close together people, that face to face and presence create. I hope I answered your question.
Yes, indeed. So from now on, I'll be more looking at the camera,
Yeah.
not to the faces on the screen.
It's difficult.
It is difficult. I need to learn this, but so I need to be bold, practical, and flexible, right? And with the right discipline, pragmatism, and empathy, I can solve it. Great. So, what about your party, Helga? How to develop people?
Thank you so much, Sarah. Yeah, it seems to be that we as leaders have to be, in Austria you call it, in German you call it Wunderwutzi, so the superhero, doing everything, have every competence and every skill. So this is a hard thing to do. Let me go back for 1 second, because Richard has an interesting question in the chat, and he asked, and it's about the megatrends. How Web3 and decentralized autonomous organizations are also a megatrend. And therefore, I have to say, I have no idea. I don't know. But this is exactly what we have to do as organizations, as leaders. We have to see and perceive all these trends which are coming up. Not every trend or not every new thing will be a trend in the future or a mega trend in the future. But we as leaders have to understand what's going on, and we have to think about, is this something what can challenge my business model? What can challenge my individuals, my employees, my organizations? And this is what we have to do. as an my personal answer to you, Richard, would be maybe, but I think to be a mega trend, you have to be, or the topic has to be easy to understand. People need to understand things, and I'm not sure if Web3 and decentralized autonomous organizations are really easy to understand at the moment. So we will see if in the future more and more people will understand what's meant with it, what is this, and then let's see if it's going to be a mega trend. But this is also exactly what we can do to learn as an organization. So see what's going on outside, understand how this could impact my business model, my organizations, and what can I do to transform myself. And one thing I want to mention is, and this is what I miss in so many organizations, and so many leaders are not able to do this, learning from failures. This is what we need to be innovative in our organizations, in our society. This is something what we need to learn and to transform ourselves, not only as individuals, but also as organizations and as a society. We have to appreciate failures and mistakes so that we can learn from it. And I see a lot of leaders and managers who are not allowing themselves to do mistakes or talking about failures because they think that they are then weak and show their weaknesses. But this is what we have to understand, and this is what we can support in organizations. And this is a first step, I think, to learn as an organization and to transform yourself. This is what I miss. What I've missed so far in many organizations, but maybe Shabal and Sophia have other experiences about that, then I would be happy to hear about that, because I didn't see that in the past so much. And last topic, what I also want to mention is what you can do to develop your organizations to a learning organization is, and this is also what Sophia and Shabal already mentioned, is put the people in the center of your organization. So people-centered focus. There are a lot of books, great books like Humanocracy, so skipping the bureaucracy and bringing people in the middle of the organizations. Work on collaboration. So I know collaboration and doing things together outside your company is really hot stuff, but it's necessary to transform yourself as a learning organization. You can't do everything on your own. You need partners. And this is, I think, Sophia also is saying yes, and also Trouble. This is what we also need in stakeholder management. Another thing is to be or to shape adaptability. So saying yes to change, appreciating change, and not sticking to a plan or a process because we have done this in the past already. And this is what Sophia already mentioned, being pragmatic. So it's necessary to have a working product, a good collaboration, a good partnership before we have a perfect documentation. So this is what we have to have in mind. And this is, by the way, also what we see as the agile leadership concept, having these 4 aspects in mind. Thank you.
Great. And so, Helga, I refer to you, Shabal, Sophia, about this. What is your view?
Shabal, you want to lead?
Yeah, about your, yeah, please.
Yeah, definitely. I guess I agree with what Helga was saying. It's very important to put people in the middle of the organization, and that's why it's very important now to change the ways of working and be more agile and flexible. And by doing so, there is a big responsibility, because when we say we are trying to limit the hierarchies or the politics within an organization, we still need at the same time to make people accountable. So how to keep them responsible and but at the same time accountable for the success, to be able to measure the performance. So I guess that's also a key thing that we need to focus on while empowering people within the organization.
Yes, for sure. And even when we work with stakeholders, the fact that we empower them to give their own perspective, and that empower them to be part of our concerns and of our projects. And as you said, Helga, working with partners, working together, it's so important. And it's true. It's at the same time difficult to obtain the results, of course, but it's for sure a better way to get the results. I'm sure of this.
So before passing to the next questions that I'm looking forward to asking you, I really wonder, Helga, how can we support failure in an organization? If I didn't misunderstand, I mean, true that we need to do it, but during my corporate years, I've never seen any such a case. Hope I can see in one day, but how do you think? How can we do it, or how we need to do it?
Mm-hmm. So what we have to see is that we should not support failure, because we don't want to have failures in our companies, but failures are existing, they are there. And what we have to support is talking about these failures, talking about mistakes. And each leader could start with him or herself, talking about the own failures we did in the past or at the moment. And so being a role model on this could be a first step. So I have this experience on my own. In one of my last jobs, I tried to implement this mindset of learning from failures. And in our monthly meeting, I always stood up and explained one failure I did, silly failures, and but also cool failures. And I hope, this was my hope, that others would follow and also talk about their failures and experiences, so that we can learn as an organization. Unfortunately, this never happened. So I was talking about my failures for 6 or 8 months. Each month I brought one failure, but no one follows me. And this shows me that it's really a critical thing, because people are too shy. They don't want to talk about failures because they do not understand what happens then. Is it allowed to do failures? Is it allowed to talk about that? And so on. And what we have to see as leaders is that we create an organizations where people feel the safety and the space to talk about these things. Otherwise, we would not have the space for innovation. Innovation is nothing else than making mistakes, experiments, and so on. So if we are not having this atmosphere, this space of feeling personal, safe, and secure, then we will miss, as leaders, an important part. And so as a first step, you can start creating an atmosphere where you do not celebrate success on the one hand, but or not celebrating success. This is also a big issue, and talking about failures, and also making people feel bad if they do something wrong. So this is a starting point, I think. And as a leader, try it, and talk about your failures. It's a fun part, even if people are not following.
Okay, now I got it. As I know that someone who doesn't fail implies doesn't do anything important for an organization or for TISEL. Anyhow, indeed, I'm learning a lot, question by question, and thanks, Helga, Charbel, Sophie. That's interesting way of looking at it, and UTech is a networking of people knowing from many perspectives what technology is and how to deal with technology. So a final question regarding the digital excellence from the regulatory point of view. How do you see this evolution, Sophia? And then Helga, maybe you can speak about what the challenges, what are challenges and hurdles for leaders and organizations, and how they can be overcome, as you already started giving some. But then Charbel may like to speak. What are the key organizational capabilities required to enable digital excellence within an organization? Yes, please. Maybe this time we can start with you, Sophia, the regulatory point of view.
Yes, for sure. Yeah, and I think I was listening to Helga and I was listening to the development of the conversation, and I remember a quote, and I'm not sure. I think it's Muhammad Ali who used to say, "You always have a perfect plan until you first get punched in your face." And I think this VUCA world that we're living in is really the punch in the face, and it's being a punch in the face for organizations, of course, but also for regulatory bodies. And digital transformation is being quite a challenge for regulatory bodies and for legislation building, because a lot of things are completely different. So, I work a lot with the health industry, and regulatory bodies, for example, are struggling on how to approve or what to approve when we're talking about an artificial intelligence tool is used to do a diagnosis or to deliver the medicine to a patient. So this is also a brand new world for regulatory bodies, and what we were talking about, and putting people on the center, and people being the center and taking initiative, is also a big challenge for regulatory bodies, because they're not used to have to implement and to listen to what citizens say. And I can highlight a lot of good steps made forward by regulatory legislative bodies like the Commission, the EU Commission, that for several years now starts by listening to the people, or at least they try to listen to the people, and they aim that people participate. But maybe in the countries this is not too disseminated, and people are not aware that they can participate on the Commission decisions or European legislation creation, and this is so important. And also in countries, in specific countries, I know that this is being done more and more, listening to those who are in the center. So I think this is the regulations are being ready. I think for usually regulators and regulatory bodies are a bit behind technology and the evolution, but I think more and more they're keeping up and stepping in.
Good to hear. And about the challenges and hurdles, Helga, what can you say, please?
Yes, well, there are a lot of challenges. As I already said, now we have to be superheroes, Wunderwutzis in our organizations. So what I've experienced in the past is that a lot of leaders and organizations are facing that their existing business models are disrupted or are going to be disrupted, and but they have this emotional bonding to their existing business models from the past and their organizations. So it's so hard to say goodbye to a product, to an employee, to a department, and so on. So maybe this is one of the most challenging hurdles at the moment. Also to say, this was a perfect business model for the last 10, 20 years, but for the upcoming years, we have to disrupt ourselves. We have to think about digital business models. We have to know about the digital business models. A lot of leaders do not know what are the digital business models and how to integrate them in their companies. So this is one thing, this knowledge part. And the other thing is, I would say that we as leaders we have also to start with reflection, for example, taking time to reflect, how do I deal with change and transformation? What are my feelings to change and transformation? How can I lead my employees in the future if I do not understand what's my leadership style, what are my values, and so on. So I would say, on the one hand, having this knowledge, this know-how that we have to add new business models, and we have to transform our organizations, and on the other hand, a really personal part, reflecting, start reflecting yourself, your behavior, and also we have to overcome that these rigid structures in organizations and strategies. Everything is going to change in every minute. So why should not our organizations be ready for change? So this is maybe the most important or most challenging hurdle, is being ready for change.
To be superheroes.
Yes, exactly.
The key organizational capabilities to be the maybe superheroes.
Yeah, so before reaching this level to be superheroes, it would be good maybe to develop some capabilities that will help us, like within the organization, actually to drive digital. So based on my experience, I split capabilities into two categories or two areas. So we need to work first on the operational capabilities, which are around the people, technology, and stuff. So one of these capabilities is how to simplify the processes and make them more agile and pragmatic. So we know that we have very rigid processes within the organization. It's very good to look into these, try to remove all the bottlenecks, all the manual activities, all like sometimes we have approvals that are not needed that we can skip. So we need to look into all of these to make them more streamlined and more simple. A second thing is building a design system. So what is a design system? A design system is to have like a kind of a standard design components that can be reusable across multiple digital projects. So for example, it's very nice if when we go to EU Tech Chamber tools, we can see the same font across everywhere. We can see the same colors used, the same palette. So that's also like facilitates the implementation of the digital tools. So this capability is very important. Shortening the cycle time for the development. So like when we build digital components or digital tools, it's very important to be agile in our perspective, and to simplify the sprints, the work, and not develop something that takes a lot of time, and after a while we discover that it's not working. We need to develop small components. The second aspect, or the second category, is more related to people and organization. So what are the people and organization capabilities? The first one that I can think of is training. So training programs are good, but nowadays they are not very efficient. So beyond training programs, we can establish training academies. So by training academy means we bring people from within the organization and outside the organization to actually share their experience and be the people who provide the training. We include some type of assessment within these trainings. The second thing is the operating model and the ways of working. So we need to review our operating model. If we have a very complex layered operating model, we need to kind reduce these layers, we need to bring our people within smaller teams to give them accountabilities and responsibilities, and actually empower them to take decisions. So every team should be responsible for the decisions related to their products, their services, and actually like be involved in everything in the user journey for that product or service, and the budget, and be accountable for these decisions. The third thing is the knowledge base. So it's very important to build this knowledge base within the organization, to keep circulating the knowledge and to avoid bottlenecks and knowledge. If someone has certain knowledge in certain tool and he leaves the organization, we shouldn't be dependent to that person. All the knowledge should be there, existing in the company, and very well documented. And the last one is to have the digital skills. So what are the digital skills? We have, I guess, numerous ones. I can think of 20, 30 digital skills, but the most important ones are collaboration. I guess that was mentioned by Helga before. So it's very important to collaborate within the teams, and to learn new ways of working when you work together. Security, because when we say digital, we say online, we are very exposed to cybersecurity risks. So people should be aware about the security risks and how to deal with this. Analytics, because we're exposed to a huge amount of data. So how can we actually structure this data, make the data, we call it in consultancy metadata. So it's a structured data that has meaning. How to only use the data to actually have some outcome or results from this data. And the last thing is the technology literacy. So people needs to be aware on how to use the new technologies. They need to be very well trained and equipped with the knowledge of using the tools. And I believe there are still a lot of other capabilities that we can build to reach this journey, this transformation journey. But I believe like these two categories are the most important ones to focus on. Thank you,
Thank
Serdar.
you. Thank you, Helga, Sharia, Charbal, and Sofia for your contribution. It is not an easy topic. And we had a very precise and tangible discussion. So I hope I haven't promised too much at my introduction. Time has just flown by, and of course, we had some questions and answered, and the public chat, and of course, the audience can reach access to you, to your profiles on LinkedIn or any other platform digitally. And time has just flown by, and we're almost at the end of our talk. Helga, Sharbal, and Sophia, I know you and I could have spoken for much longer since you're passionate about this topic. And today we have learned that we need sustainable and smart product and service approaches and openness to create and operate accepted and holistic digital excellence that could be integrated into higher systems. And we need global players like you, Helga, Sharbal, and Sophia, to do the job. So let me quickly say thanks to Net. A big thank to you, Sophia, for your keynote speech, and many, many thanks to you, Helga and Sharbal, for having shared your views in such a succinct and structured way, not only your thoughts and insight on this topic itself and beyond, which EU Tech will honor panelists in a specific way. Now our chair will provide you a gift. Let's give floor to Jörg Tuchen, who is the chair of the Climate Action Alliance at EU Tech, and will present you your gifts. Yes, please, Jörg.
Thank you so much.
Jörg, I think you are connected but locked, so Kashif may like to unlock Jörg to speak. So you are unlocked, Jörg, and you can maybe connect now. Just give a try. Yes. Can you connect now, Jörg? You can please try. Yeah, leave the audio and connect the audio with speakers, please. And Kashif, can you please help Jörg to do it? Anyhow, I think it's not possible now. Kashif, can you please give it a try? Yes, please, Kashif.
George, can you turn it off? Can you turn your speaker off and connect it again? Because I'm not sure which option should we select here to connect your mic, because you are using too many mics, too many speakers there.
Okay, so that's why we need to also focus on digital excellence, right? That is a basic example, but this may happen sometimes. Anyhow, please, Jörg, let me take over the word from you. You may like to share this certificate once again, please. And we appreciate your great contribution, dear panelists. So if Jörg can share the again, yes, please, Jörg. I think you can hear me, and just please share the tree certificate again if you can. Otherwise, we will post them to you as our appreciation of your great contribution, and you will receive your tree certificates. And now you will see it, and we will post it to you. Anyhow, it is our appreciation to you. Your trees will be among the forest in Africa, and I hope they can visit there and water them. But finally, thanks to you, the audience, and for your time and great questions. And please do get in touch with us for many ways. There are many ways to get to know us and our work better. One is by participating on our monthly events like this one today, to connect with other experts and to evaluate the solution space for a system change in academy. So see you next time and have a good one. Bye. Thank you, Sophia. Thank you, Helga. Thank you,
Thank you.
Sharbam.
It was a
the
pleasure.
audience.
Thank you so
Bye,
much.
everybody.
Thank you so
Bye.
much.
Have a good
Thank you.
day.
Have
Bye.
a good day.
Bye.
Bye bye.